Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Star Wars. First of all, let's talk about some of the numbers, especially in regards to movies. So, first of all, on the screen here, I have the worldwide grosses, so the highest grossing films of all time. These are films that have grossed huge dollars, obviously. So, the first one being Avatar. Avatar is the most successful movie of all time. Some would argue that it maybe shouldn't be classified as the number one movie, just because of the fact that it had so many re-releases and the fact that it got introduced to IMAX at a unique time and other things. But having said that, first of all, great movie, deserves to be number one. And something I think that's worth noting is that also hits that sci-fi fantasy genre. So I think that's important to recognize. Titanic, obviously we know, is in second. And then Star Wars The Force Awakens is in third. What I want you to do is when we look at the list here, so 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, arguably 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, arguably 18, 19, arguably, and 20. These are all sci-fi or fantasy-based movies. Think about how many of the best grossing movies of all time are fantasy-based or sci-fi-based. I mean, this for me is a great testament to the industry, as well as a great testament to what people really enjoy watching. So, I mean, if you look at it, you got Star Wars, Jurassic World, Marvel movie, another Marvel movie, Harry Potter, Iron Man, another Marvel movie, 12 Captain America, another Marvel movie, so on and so forth. So the point is, it's worth recognizing, and it is, for me, a testament to Star Wars as number 20. Rogue One, a offshoot movie to the Star Wars genre, grossed over $1 billion worldwide. That's pretty impressive. What's even more impressive is if you look at the domestic numbers, Star Wars Force Awakens the highest, and Rogue One is in the top very few. So it's impressive to see on how well domestically being North American based movies. So I just wanted to point out that sci-fi represents a huge portion of the genre, and it definitely represents an unbelievably high quantity of the movies all time of what people have watched and enjoy watching. And if you keep looking down the list here, just moving it down, you see Hobbit and Harry Potter everywhere, Shrek, animated, more Star Wars, Spider-Man, Independence Day, and the list just keeps going and going, and you'll keep finding more sci-fi all the way through the top 100. And even Doctor Strange hit this list at 673. Which is that's still technically in theaters while I was recording this. So, excellent starting point for the movies. So now let's talk a little bit about domestically. Okay, so that was worldwide. Now look at domestic. This is a very strong representation of what we believe are the best movies, and if you look at it, Star Wars Force Awakens has literally destroyed the competition locally. And then you've got Avatar. When I say locally, I mean North American based. Jurassic World, Marvel, Batman, and then Rogue One. That's unbelievably impressive. And then Episode 1. And then for me, Star Wars number 10 being in the top 10 without factoring inflation is unbelievably impressive. So I mean, if you think about it in those terms, you got, every other movie up here is 2015, 2009, 97, 2015, 12, 2008, 2016, and then you got 1977. I mean, it's 20 years earlier than any other movie in the top 10. And then if you look further down, it's 2015, 2012, 2004, and then the only other competition for an early movie is E.T., which is another science fiction movie back from 1982. So I think that gives a huge testament to Star Wars. There's no question domestically, Star Wars is the largest film of all time, but internationally, it definitely does take third. So now I did one where it was based on inflation. Okay, so basically this is how much it would gross in relation to the time period till now. So this turns the list around a little bit here. So the biggest one being Gone with the Wind back in 1939. So it had a huge number. Do keep in mind movies in 1939 would have stayed in the theaters for upwards of 6 months. And I think there were less movies made in that year than in the first 2 weeks of this year, being 2017. So significant difference that way. Having said that, unbelievable numbers. And then Star Wars comes in second, again from 1977. E.T. still up there. And then Star Wars Force Awakens, which is a more recent movie, then gets all the way to 11th, followed by Empire Strikes Back at 13 and Return of the Jedi at 16. So and then some of the other Star Wars movies quickly after. So you can see that Star Wars, no matter how you measure it, has had a significant impact on the movie industry. There's just no way to get around it. If you're a Star Wars fan or not, the numbers are undeniably impressive. So some box office records just wanted to show. So like I said, Force Awakens domestically, biggest worldwide, Avatar. PG-13, Force Awakens. Opening weekend, Force Awakens. Opening weekend worldwide, Force Awakens. Fall and holiday movie, Star Wars Force Awakens. And then Deadpool, Batman, Jurassic Park. Amazing how so many of these movies are sci-fi fantasy based. Deadpool, Batman, The Avengers, Jurassic World, Harry Potter, Suicide Squad. Star Wars Force Awakens again. My whole point is that no matter how they measure it, so many sci-fi fantasy movies are at the top of the list, no matter what you're measuring. And you keep going down. So, I mean, this one was impressive. Second weekend, Force Awakens. Third weekend, Force, and then Avatar and Titanic took over. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people will acknowledge the fact that today the longevity of how long a movie will stay in theaters doesn't exist like it did back in Avatar and Titanic days. Movies could stay relevant for months and significantly longer months and periods. I doubt we're going to see a movie, no matter what it is, challenge those types of long term in the sense of how well they did in weeks, 10, 11, 12 weekends. Just think about how long of a period that is. So just keep that in mind. But again, you see more Force Awakens, E.T., more Force Awakens, and then, I mean, some of the stats when you get into weekend days, I mean, unbelievable the numbers that Star Wars pulled in again here. And then miscellaneous records for like the first 10-day grosses, Star Wars Force Awakens clobbered. So my whole point is, again, fastest to, 500 million, that's just unbelievable stats. So I just wanted to quickly go through and show you the numbers on the movies. They are undeniably impressive, but even more so, just not even Star Wars based, for me, fantasy and sci-fi just dominate the genre, and I'm so glad to see it because they're the type of movies I love to watch. Okay, thanks for listening.